Roselawn Cemetery above Belfast, and this is the final resting place of a legend in these parts, certainly in footballing circles, a man called Bob Bishop. And he's commemorated here as Robert Bishop, died 13th June 1990. So from this grave, it doesn't really give you a clue to who Bob Bishop was, even Robert Bishop. But when you locally, certainly Bob Bishop is well known as the man who discovered George Best. Bob Bishop, he lived in at number 9 Bloomdale Street off Bloomfield Avenue, and he worked in the shipyard. He was a riveter there, but in his spare time he ran the Boylan Youth Club, and they met and still meet, I believe, at Lomond Avenue, close to the Hollywood Arches. And according to George Best's approved biography, Immortal, Bob Bishop had 3 hobbies: budgies, border collie dogs, and above all, football. Manchester United in 1950 appointed him as their scout, and they paid him £2 a week plus expenses, and also installed a telephone in his house so he could communicate with Old Trafford. In 35 years as the Manchester United scout, he brought more than 100 players over to Old Trafford, including George Best. Jimmy Nicholl was also scouted by Bishop, David McCreary, Sammy McIlroy, and one of his more recent ones was Norman Whiteside. Bob Bishop was a distinctive figure with a cigarette hanging from his lips, and he wore a V-neck sweater in winter and a white shirt in the summer. He also brought aspiring footballers down to a little base camp that he had in an old cottage in Helens Bay. Sadly, that old cottage is now no longer there. And Bob Bishop made it to the grand old age of 90 before he passed away, as it mentions in his headstone, on the 13th of June 1990. So he lived with his sister, I say, at 9 Bloomdale Street, and he was predeceased by his sister Kathleen. She died 3 years before him. So again, here in Roselawn Cemetery, not far from George Best's grave, the man who's credited with discovering him, and he was the man that sent the famous telegram to Matt Busby, "I think I've found you a genius." So it was this man that sent that telegram, and it's now immortalised, that quote, a number of locations, including George Best's family home on the Craigie estate. So again, the final resting place of Manchester United scout and local legend Bob Bishop.